Hey, my name is Sandra, and I know this sounds crazy, but a billionaire man saw me at a club just hours after I buried my husband, and what happened after that will break your heart forever. Please don't judge me until you hear everything. And before I start, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. I stood in the cold rain at Greenwood Cemetery, staring at the fresh dirt covering my husband's grave. Mark was gone. A car accident took him 3 days ago. No warning, no goodbye. Just me, Sandra, left alone at 32, trying to make sense of it all. My black dress clung to my skin, soaked, but I didn't care. I felt nothing, numb, like my heart got buried with him. People came and went, his coworkers, our neighbors, my sister. They hugged me, said sorry, and left. I just nodded. What do you say when your world's ripped apart? By noon, it was just me and the gravestone. Mark Thompson, loving husband. I wanted to scream. Loving, sure, but now what? How do I keep going? That night, my best friend, Jess, showed up at my tiny Brooklyn apartment. She was all energy, her red curls bouncing as she pulled me off the couch. Sandra, you can't sit here crying forever. You're coming out with me. A club. I stared at her like she was crazy. Jess, I buried Mark today. Exactly, she said, tossing me a dress from my closet. You're not dead. You need to feel alive. One night. Please. I didn't want to go. Every bone in my body screamed to stay home, curl up, and hide. But Jess wouldn't quit. She dragged me to Manhattan, to some loud club called Pulse. Neon lights flashed, music pounded, and people danced like nothing mattered. I felt out of place in my borrowed black dress, sipping a drink I didn't want. Jess was off dancing, leaving me at the bar, lost in my thoughts. That's when I felt it, someone watching me. I turned, and across the room, a man stood out. Tall, maybe 40, with sharp features and a suit that screamed money. His eyes locked on mine, not blinking, like he saw right through me. I looked away, my stomach twisting. Who was he? Why me? I tried to focus on my drink, but minutes later, he was next to me. You don't belong here, he said, his voice low, smooth. Not mean, just sure. I frowned. Excuse me. He smiled just a little. You're not like them. He nodded at the crowd. What's your name? Sandra, I said, hesitant. I didn't ask his. Something about him felt heavy, like he carried secrets I wasn't ready for. I'm Ethan, he said, leaning closer. I saw you the second you walked in. You're different. I laughed, bitter. Yeah. Well, I'm a widow as of today. That's pretty different. His face didn't change, but his eyes softened. I'm sorry, but maybe I can help you forget the pain. Just for tonight. I should have walked away, told him to leave me alone. But I didn't. I was tired, broken, and part of me wanted to escape, even for a second. So I stayed, not knowing that saying my name to Ethan would change everything. The club's lights pulsed around me, but Ethan's voice cut through the noise like a knife. He stood close, too close, his dark eyes holding mine. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. Something about him pulled me in, even though my heart screamed to run. I'm not looking for company, I said, gripping my glass. I just needed a break. Ethan didn't back off. He leaned against the bar, calm, like he owned the place. I get it, Sandra, but you're not here for fun. You're lost. I can see it. I laughed, sharp and cold. You don't know me. Maybe not, he said, shrugging. But I know pain, and you're drowning in it. His words hit hard. I wanted to snap back, tell him to mind his own business, but my throat tightened. He wasn't wrong. I was a mess, barely holding it together after Mark's funeral. Why was I even here? I set my drink down, ready to leave, but Ethan touched my arm. Not rough, just enough to stop me. Let me drive you home, he said. No strings. You shouldn't be alone tonight. I hesitated. Jess was somewhere in the crowd, probably fine. I didn't know this guy, but he didn't feel like a creep. Stupid or not, I nodded. Okay, just a ride. Outside, the city buzzed, taxis honking, people laughing. Ethan led me to a sleek black car, the kind you see in movies. A driver opened the door, and I slid in, feeling out of place on the leather seats. Ethan sat beside me, quiet at first. The car pulled into Manhattan's chaos, heading toward Brooklyn. "You're not like most people in there," he said finally. "You're real." I rolled my eyes. "You sound like a bad pickup line." He chuckled, low and warm. "Fair, but I mean it. I noticed you because, well, you remind me of someone." "Who?" I asked, curious despite myself. He looked out the window, his jaw tight. "Someone I lost. A long time ago. I didn't push. Grief was something I understood now." We rode in silence for a bit, the city lights blurring past. Then he turned to me, his voice different, serious. "Sandra, I knew your husband." My heart stopped. I stared at him, my mouth dry. "What?" "Mark," he said like it was nothing. "We met years ago. Worked together on a few things." I shook my head, confused. "Mark was a mechanic. He didn't know guys like you." Ethan's eyes didn't waver. "He did. And there's something you need to know about him. Something he never told you." "Stop," I snapped, my voice shaking. "You're lying. Why are you saying this?" "I'm not lying," he said, calm but firm. "I can prove it. But you have to trust me." "Trust you?" I laughed, bitter. "I don't even know you." The car stopped outside my building. I wanted to bolt, but Ethan leaned closer, his voice low. "Meet me tomorrow. I'll tell you everything. You deserve the truth." I got out, slamming the door, my head spinning. As the car pulled away, I stood there alone, wondering what secret Mark could have kept and why this billionaire cared. I barely slept. Ethan's words kept spinning in my head like a bad song. "I knew your husband. How?" Mark never mentioned anyone like Ethan. My Mark fixed cars, watched football, and ate pizza on Fridays. He wasn't the type to run with some fancy suit from Manhattan. But Ethan's voice, so sure, gnawed at me. What if he wasn't lying? By morning, my Brooklyn apartment felt too small, like the walls were closing in. I stared at Mark's old jacket on the couch, half expecting him to walk in and laugh it off. He didn't. I grabbed my phone and found a text from a number I didn't know. Asterisk coffee at the Bean on 5th, 10 a.m. "Ethan." Asterisk, my stomach twisted. I didn't want to go, but I needed answers. The cafe was busy, people typing on laptops, moms with strollers. Ethan sat in the back, looking out of place in his crisp jacket. He stood when he saw me, like some old-school gentleman. "You came," he said, smiling. "Talk," I said, sitting down. "What's this about Mark?" He slid a coffee toward me, but I didn't touch it. "I'm not your enemy, Sandra. I'm trying to help." "Then stop playing games," I snapped. "How did you know my husband?" Ethan leaned back, his face serious. 10 years ago, I was in a bad spot. Car wreck upstate. Mark was driving by, pulled me out before the thing blew. Saved my life. I blinked, trying to picture it. Mark never told me that story. "So what?" "You owed him." "Something like that," Ethan said. "We kept in touch. He had dreams, wanted to open his own shop. I helped him out, gave him some cash." I shook my head. "Mark never took handouts." "It wasn't a handout," Ethan said, his voice sharp. "It was a deal. He worked for me sometimes. Odd jobs. Odd jobs." My hands clenched. "What kind?" "You're not a mechanic." Ethan looked away, choosing his words. "Let's just say I move money around. Mark helped me with deliveries." My heart sank. "Like what? Drugs?" "No," he said quickly. "Nothing like that. Just packages. Discreet stuff." I stood up, my chair scraping loud. "You're saying my husband was some kind of criminal? You're full of it." "Sandra, sit," he said, not loud but firm. People glanced over. I sat, glaring. "I'm telling you because you're part of it now," he said. "Mark's gone, but the deal isn't." "What deal?" I asked, my voice shaking. Ethan leaned in, eyes locked on mine. "He wanted you safe. Always. If anything happened to him, I promised to look out for you. That's why I found you at the club." I laughed, cold and bitter. "You're insane. I don't need your protection." "Maybe not," he said. "But someone's looking for what Mark had. And they'll come for you next." My blood ran cold. "Who?" "I'll tell you more," he said, standing. "But not here. Tomorrow night, my place. You'll see I'm not lying." He left me there, staring at my untouched coffee, my whole world cracking. My Mark had secrets, and now they were mine. I walked home from the cafe in a daze, the city blurring around me. Horns honked. People shoved past, but all I heard was Ethan's voice. They'll come for you next. Who? Why? Mark wasn't perfect, but he was no criminal. Or was he? My head hurt, trying to fit these pieces into the man I loved. I passed a bodega, its radio playing some sad song, and it hit me. Mark's voice used to hum tunes like that. Now it was just a memory, whispering doubts. Back at my apartment, I locked the door and sank to the floor. Ethan's card sat on the counter, his address scrawled on it. Some fancy penthouse in Manhattan. I didn't want to go. I wanted to hide, pretend none of this was real. But ignoring it felt like betraying Mark. If he had secrets, I needed to know. I owed him that much. The next night, I took a cab to Ethan's place. The building was all glass and lights, the kind of spot you see in magazines. A doorman waved me in, and an elevator shot me up to the top floor. Ethan opened the door before I knocked, like he'd been waiting. You're here, he said, almost surprised. Tell me the truth, I said, stepping inside. His place was huge, marble floors, city views, but it felt cold, like nobody really lived there. He poured me a glass of water I didn't ask for. I told you, Sandra. Mark worked for me. He carried things, documents, sometimes cash. He knew the risks. Risks? I laughed, bitter. He died in a car crash, Ethan. Not some gangster shootout. Ethan's face tightened. Maybe it wasn't an accident. My stomach dropped. What? I don't know for sure, he said, pacing. But Mark was scared the last time we talked. Said someone was watching him. I gripped the counter, dizzy. Why didn't he tell me? He wanted you safe, Ethan said. That's why I'm here. I can give you a new life, money, security. But you have to leave Brooklyn. Come with me. I stared at him. You think I'd just run off with you? I don't even know you. You know me enough, he said, stepping closer. I'm keeping my promise to Mark. His voice was soft, but it made my skin crawl. Part of me wanted to believe him, to escape the pain, the questions. But Mark's face flashed in my mind, his grin, his calloused hands. I can't, I whispered. I'm not leaving my life. Ethan's eyes darkened. You don't get it. They're coming. Sandra. You can't stay here. Then tell me who. I shouted. Stop with the vague crap. He sighed, rubbing his face. I will. Soon. Just trust me a little longer. I turned away, my chest tight. Mark's voice echoed, telling me to laugh, to live. But how could I, when everything I knew was crumbling? I grabbed my coat. I need time, I said, heading for the door. Ethan didn't stop me. You don't have much, he called after me. Outside, the city roared, but I felt alone. Mark was gone, and the truth was slipping through my fingers. The cab ride home felt like a dream, the city lights smearing past like paint. Ethan's words clung to me. Asterisk, they're coming. Asterisk, I didn't know who they were, but the fear in his voice was real. Or was he playing me? I couldn't tell anymore. My apartment was dark when I got back, and for the first time, it didn't feel safe. Every creak made me jump, like someone was hiding in the shadows. The next morning, I called Jess. I'm losing it, I told her over coffee at a diner near her place. This guy, Ethan, he says Mark was into something shady. And now I'm supposed to trust him. Jess frowned, picking at her fries. Sounds like a scam, Sandra. Rich guy swoops in, acts like he knows everything. Come on. But what if it's true? I said, my voice low. What if Mark wasn't? Mark? She grabbed my hand. He loved you. Don't let this creep mess with your head. I wanted to believe her, but doubt had taken root. That night, Ethan texted again. Asterisk, meet me at the Standard. 8 p.m. You'll understand. Asterisk, against my better judgment, I went. The hotel bar was all glitz, packed with people who looked like they'd never known a bad day. Ethan was at a corner table, a drink in hand. You're late, he said, but he smiled like it didn't matter. Just talk, I said, sitting. No more riddles. He nodded, leaning in. Mark carried sensitive stuff for me. Business deals, private contracts. A few weeks ago, he got sloppy. Lost the package. People weren't happy. What people? I asked, my heart racing. Powerful ones, he said. They don't forgive mistakes. I swallowed hard. And now they want me? They think you know something, he said. Mark ever give you anything? A key, a flash drive. I shook my head, but a memory hit me. Mark tucking a small box in our closet last month, saying it was work stuff. I hadn't thought twice. Now it felt like a bomb waiting to go off. Ethan watched me, like he could see my thoughts. You're in my world now, Sandra. It's money, power, danger. But I can protect you. Move you somewhere safe. New name, new life. I laughed, shaky. What? Like I'm in a movie. I'm not running. You might have to, he said, his voice soft but heavy. Or you'll end up like Mark. His words cut deep. I stood, my chair scraping. Don't say that. You didn't know him. I knew enough, he said, standing too. He wasn't who you thought. Check that box in your closet. Then call me. I left, my head spinning. At home, I tore through the closet, finding the box behind Mark's old sneakers. Inside was a flash drive, a key, and a note in his handwriting. Asterisk Sandra, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. Don't trust anyone. Asterisk, my hand shook. Mark had a double life. The man I loved, who kissed me goodnight, was a stranger. And now Ethan's world was pulling me in, whether I wanted it or not. I sat on my apartment floor, the flash drive and key in my hands, Mark's note burning a hole in my heart. Don't trust anyone, not Ethan, not even him. The man I married had lied, and now I was caught in his mess. I wanted to scream, to throw it all out the window, but I couldn't. If Mark left this for me, it meant something. I had to know. I plugged the flash drive into my old laptop, my hands shaking. A single file popped up, a video. Mark's face filled the screen, looking tired, his eyes darting like he was scared. Sandra, he said, his voice rough, if you're watching this, I'm gone. I screwed up. Took a job I shouldn't have. Ethan Blake's not who he seems. He's got blood on his hands, and I was too deep to get out. This drive has proof, names, deals. Get it to the cops, but don't trust Ethan. I love you. I'm sorry. The video cut off. I sat there, numb, tears streaming down my face. Mark wasn't just a delivery guy for Ethan. He'd been part of something big, something dirty. And Ethan? He'd played me, acting like my savior when he was the snake. I checked the drive, files with bank records, coded names, dates. It was a map of Ethan's world, and Mark had stolen the key. My phone buzzed. Ethan. Asterisk, you find it yet? We need to talk. Asterisk, my blood ran cold. He knew about the box. Was he watching me? I didn't answer, just grabbed the drive and key and stuffed them in my pocket. I had to move, had to think. The city outside roared, but my tiny Brooklyn apartment felt like a trap. I called Jess, my voice shaking. I need your help. Mark left something, and it's bad. Stay there, she said. I'm coming. While I waited, I paced, Mark's note in my hand. Don't trust anyone. But I had to trust someone, right? Jess showed up, her face pale when I told her everything. We go to the police, she said. Now, we took a cab to the precinct, the drive burning a hole in my pocket. But as we stepped out, a black car screeched up. Ethan stepped out, his face calm but his eyes hard. Sandra, don't do this. I froze, just grabbing my arm. Get away from her, she yelled. You don't understand, Ethan said, stepping closer. That drive will ruin you, too. Mark wasn't innocent. You turn it in, you're both done. My heart pounded. I saw Mark's face, his video, his warning. I had a choice. Hand it over, run with Ethan, maybe live. Or fight, for Mark, for the truth, even if it broke me. I clutched the drive tighter. No, I said, my voice steady. You don't own me. Ethan's face darkened. You're making a mistake. Jess pulled me toward the precinct doors. Come on, she hissed. I ran, my heart shattering with every step. Mark's secrets had torn my world apart, but I wasn't his pawn or Ethan's. Whatever happened next, I'd face it. For him. For me.